Hey everyone, in honor of October being Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, I wanted to make a video on how I've coped with losing my son to stillbirth. I have a few steps and things that I've done in the past 8 weeks that have helped me have better days. I mean, I still sometimes wake up very sad or in a depressive state, and just doing some of these things has helped me get out of that mood. Of course, we're all human, and sometimes nothing will help more than just crying it out or letting yourself just be in that moment. But these steps have really helped me through my grief journey, and although we are never going to fully heal from such a loss, we can learn ways in which we can move with our pain. We can live with our pain, and we can still find joy in life, although we are still missing our babies. So I'm going to share the things that I did that really helped me, or that are really helping me. I do have my notes here, so I'll be looking down as a reminder. But the very first thing I wanted to mention, which I think is the biggest one that helped me the most, is simply talking about it. I think in the beginning I found a lot of comfort in a very selective few group of people, and the reason for that is I had a couple of family members and friends who had personally gone through the loss of a child through miscarriage and or stillbirth, and so they knew what I was going through. They knew the feelings that I was feeling, and I really found comfort in knowing that I was not alone in my feelings, and that there was other people that went through what I went through, and they knew what to tell me. Then I had a couple other people that I could also really open up to, because they not necessarily went through it themselves, but they really attached themselves to my baby, to our pregnancy. They knew how big our hopes were with our son, and they were just as invested as we were. So it was a loss to them as well. And so those people I could also really relate to, because they're also grieving as well. And I found a lot of comfort in being able to openly talk about what I was feeling without feeling like they were going to tell me something that was going to upset me or that I felt was going to be insensitive. What I started to do is I started to YouTube. I started to just turn on my phone, my camera, and just talk about what I was feeling and what I wanted to say without the repercussion of, you know, somebody talking back to me or saying something that was not going to ease my pain. So talking about it, whether it was to somebody or to the camera, really, really helped me. The second one on my list is saying his name. It's as little as it is, it's really important, because any grieving mother will tell you that their fear is that their son or daughter, their child, is going to be forgotten. And we do not want that. We do not want our child to be forgotten like they did not exist. And to us and to our friends and family, our son existed. Our son was real. Our son impacted a lot of people. It makes me feel better when I read on a text message or when I hear somebody else outside of us three saying his name, because that's a reminder that he is here and people do remember him, and they are going to remember him. So when I get a text message from my sister or my sister-in-law or my best friend, and you know, they're saying, oh yeah, Abel touched us, touched our lives, we're always going to remember, he's always our little angel. That makes me so happy, because I don't want him to be forgotten. And just hearing somebody else say his name makes me feel so much better. And yeah, it brings me a lot of peace. So saying his name, not being afraid to say his name, and it's just really special. The next thing that has really helped me is reading books about loss. I've only read 2, and I haven't finished both of them, but I have gotten into more than halfway on one of them, and the other one I've gotten pretty far into it too. So I really enjoyed both these two books. I do recommend them. The first book is Dear Cheyenne by Joanne Cacciatore. I think I'm saying it right, but if not, I'll link it down below or write it somewhere so that way you can get it. I found that one online. There was a website that had the PDF file of it, but I'm sure you can buy it as well. But I read it on, I've been reading it online and I have it bookmarked so I can go to it. But basically that book it looks like, as far as how I've gotten, it looks like it's a mother's journaling to her daughter who was a stillborn, and she's just writing to her whatever she's feeling as her process goes on. I think I've gotten to the point where it's been about a couple years or so. So it was really comforting to me to read, because she writes quotes on there too. So sometimes she'll write what she felt for that day and then on the bottom a quote. So the quotes really helped, but also what helps is to see a grieving journey. That is what you're looking at. You're looking at her good days or her bad days. You're looking at how she keeps her daughter's memory alive and what she does to comfort her, and how certain things can be triggers. So it's really comforting to read somebody else's journey process. So that was the first book. The second book, I made a whole first impressions video on it, but it is Grieving the Child I Never Knew. Now, as I talked about on the video with this one, is that it is very religious in the sense that it takes you back and forth from this book to the Bible, and where you can find scriptures on the Bible that can help you through your grieving process. So along with this, I have my Bible, and I'm reading both of these at the same time. The other thing that has helped too is journaling. So I ended up turning into Journaling to Avel. So it's letters that I'm writing to Avel, which it's such a therapeutic process, because you're writing down and kind of just having an emotional throw up process, if that makes any sense, where you're just letting everything out. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct. You don't have to do it the right way. It's just putting it down on paper and, letting yourself feel what you're feeling. The next thing I've done is, and as I've also mentioned on my channel, is counseling. I started counseling about 2 weeks after I lost Abel, and I've been going every week ever since that. Counseling taught me to be gentle with yourself, be gentle with those feelings, and let yourself feel that. So as hard as the process is, it really is worth it. It's so therapeutic, and it helps you understand why you're feeling what you're feeling and why you're going through an emotional roller coaster. So counseling has definitely helped. As I also mentioned, counseling is not for everybody. Not everybody feels comfortable with counseling. Along with counseling, I also believe in support groups. Unfortunately, where I'm from, in the city that I live in, there is one support group that I know of for people who have, for couples who have lost a child to miscarriage, to stillbirth, or an infant, a child shortly after birth. And unfortunately, that support group runs in, I guess, sessions. So it'll start in January to June, and then, or January to May, and then June to December. So because Abel passed away in August, it was about halfway through the second session of the year, so we couldn't join. But what I did is, when I was pregnant, I had an app on my phone, the What to Expect app, and on there they had a lot of discussion groups that you could join, support groups, and a lot of discussion boards. And once I obviously went through what we went through, I went on the app, and on there you can change your status from expecting to miscarriage and stillbirth and all these other options. So I changed mine to stillbirth, and they were able to link me up to their support group through there. So I went on there, and I found that the members of that group weren't very active. It was very sporadic, but a lot of the members on there would post that they're a lot more active on their Facebook support group. So I was able to locate that Facebook support group and asked to be added to the group, which I was. And up to this date, I still haven't personally posted anything in terms of, my experience, but reading other people's experiences and other things that come up throughout the year for them, whether their loss is recent or their loss is, years from now, if it was years ago, it's comforting to know that you're not alone. So I definitely do suggest doing a support group. I think if you could find a local in-person support group would be better, but if you can't, an online support group would work too. The other thing that has really helped us three is to have items to hold. Items that we have of Avel that we could hug or touch as a reminder. The first thing, which I've also shared on one of my vlogs, is we have his very first stuffed animal, which is this baby Simba that we got at Disneyland in like April. And so this was going to be his, but because everything happened, he sleeps with us every night. We hug him. It's kind of our thing that we have of Avel. So we always sleep with him. If we travel, we take him with us. If Jojo wants to take him into her room for a few hours, she does, but he usually stays here in our bedroom. So this is something we have to hold when we're feeling lonely or sad, or we want to remember him. That's something to hold. The other thing is, and this was a suggestion from my therapist, was to have something on your body that you can touch all the time as a way to remember that they're here with you. So I picked up, when we went to Disneyland, I don't think I shared it, and I don't know if it's going to focus, but I picked up this ring. I don't know if it's gonna, you can tell because of the light, but it's a ring that has an A on it, and it's like a Mickey little stone. So I picked this up when we went to Disneyland for Jojo's birthday. I wanted to get a jewelry item that I can always wear and I can always have with me. So it's an A for his name, and then to commemorate Jojo's birthday, it has the little Mickey head. So that's what I wear every day. My husband and Jojo both got these bracelets at Disneyland also. They're leather, and they got him engraved with his name on it. The thing that I also will be doing is, and crossing my fingers, it'll be early next year, is I'm planning on getting a tattoo in memory of my son. So I'm planning on putting that in my forearm somewhere where I could see it every day. But the tattoo artist that I want to get it with is super busy. She's really good, but she gets booked up very, very, very much in advance. So the earliest would be January, but that's if I can get that really early appointment. So crossing my fingers for January to be when I can get that done. Another idea, a lot of agencies will do this, they'll make a bear or a stuffed animal out of clothing items or blankets that you had planned for the baby. Or if you did get, if your child was stillborn and you had time to spend with the baby at the hospital, maybe a blanket that you used to hold the baby, you could maybe get a stuffed animal made of it. I know other agencies make stuffed animals to weigh the weight of the child. That's another idea too. The other thing we have to hold and to kind of keep nearby is his urn. We did opt for a cremation, and so we have his urn here, specifically in our bedroom. And what I'm going to be doing in the next week or so is preparing a Day of the Dead altar for him. And then I will be, hopefully sometime soon again, I need to make a trip out to IKEA and buy some things to make his formal, the place where I will formally keep his urn. Right now he is somewhere safe and displayed, but it's not the way I want it. I have a lot of plans for that, and I'll make probably a video on that too. But just having things that are of his that remind you of him, that you want to keep nearby. So that's another thing that has really helped me. The last thing that I've done that has really helped me through my grieving process is to make something. A lot of the times they recommend you doing something in their honor, whether it is planting a tree, setting a place in your backyard, in honor of them, like in a, getting a bench in a really nice area of your backyard. I already said planting a tree or planting a plant, or doing something, making something in their honor that is tangible and that you can go as a place to remember them. I unfortunately, because of where we live, do not have the option of planting a tree, and we're not very much gardening people either, so I don't know if we'd be able to keep that tree alive. So we opted to not do that. What I have actually done is YouTube. I've done things in his memory. I did his in memory of him, his video. That one was really special to make. I thought it was going to be really hard to make, but after I made it and after seeing my reaction and Jojo and Hector's reaction, it was just perfect. The other thing I made was his scrapbook. It, again, as hard as it was to look at his pictures and go through every single memory, it was really, really therapeutic, and it made me feel so good to be able to still feel like his mom, because I am his mom, but still be able to do things that, moms that have their living children with them do, I did make a scrapbook for Jojo when she was a baby, and I wasn't going to let this situation stop me from making a scrapbook for Abel. So I made a scrapbook, and again, it's something that we as a family have that we can always pull out and look at if, we're missing him, or if we want to remember what he looked like, or, remember the feelings that came with finding out that we were pregnant with him. So that is another thing. Again, I will be making a little altar for him during the Day of the Dead a time, but so that'll be something else that I'll be making, but I will also be putting together his very special place where we'll be keeping him permanently, which is something else that will probably end up helping me too, something that I worked hard on to make extra special. So the very last thing that has helped me and brought a lot of comfort to the three of us is the idea that there are signs that your child does still live and they're still here with you. And that, can be a touchy thing because some people don't believe in an afterlife. Some people don't believe in anything happening to our loved ones once they've died or passed away. For us personally, we do believe that there is a heaven, and I believe my son is in heaven with my mom, and that they are watching over us. With that being said, my husband told me, and I never believed, or not that I never believed this, but I had never heard about this prior to my husband telling me, but that your loved ones give you signs that they're still here, whether it is they're coming to visit you in the form of a butterfly or in the form of a rainbow. That I had never heard before. And for some reason, I don't know if maybe I'm just paying more attention to it, I always see an orange butterfly all the time. An orange butterfly. Whether I'm at home, it's right outside my window, or if we go out of town somewhere, there's always an orange butterfly. Always. It makes me so happy to think, oh, he's here with us. He came to visit us. So that's the very last thing. You know, if you decide to look for signs, you know, for me personally, I find comfort in that. So that's everything that I have done in the past 8 weeks that has helped me cope with my loss and cope with my grief. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope that somebody out there benefits from this video or benefits from some of the coping mechanisms that I've used. But I hope you have better days, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!